And we're live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. We're just going to take 1 or 2 minutes to let everybody get joined and settled in before we actually go ahead and get started. So hang tight, and we will be getting started in 1 or 2 minutes here. Welcome, everybody who just joined. Like I said before, we are just going to wait 1 or 2 minutes to let everybody get joined and settled in before we go ahead and get started with any webinar content that we have for you all today. While we wait, feel free to use the chat tool. You can chat into us, let us know where you're joining us from, what kind of work you are scheduling, time tracking for, and just overseeing. It's always kind of fun for us to get to know you all better before we get started.
All right. The joiners have slowed down, so I think we're free to get rolling here. Awesome. All right. So yeah, we're glad that you guys could join us today, and we're excited to address any questions you have about when I work, and not just address them, but show them, show the answers or anything that needs to be shown in an account, so you can familiarize yourself with that process, and we can show you how to do certain things. This webinar is directed by the people that are joining us. And so during the next 30 minutes, we'll be answering your When I Work related questions. We're going to show you ways that you can save time when scheduling and when I work, as well as cut down on overtime costs, cut down on the time it takes to run payroll to almost nothing. It's just going to be great. And we're excited that you guys are joining us and you're going to submit questions. And speaking of submitting questions, at any time, including right now, feel free to start sending in any questions you have through Zoom's Q&A feature, which is located in the taskbar toward the bottom of the Zoom window. The questions will be flowing in, and we're going to get to as many as we can. If your question does not get answered and you would like further help, you can always chat with us or the care team after the webinar from the When I Work web app, and listen for more information toward the end on how to get in contact with us and customer care. So whether you're totally brand new to When I Work and this is kind of your first time exploring it or looking into it, and you're just checking our plans out, we'll outline at the end how you can go about upgrading your account that may be on a trial. If you like the tools we showed you today, if you're joining just to ask questions about an existing account, we welcome those as well. So let's get started.
All right. We have a couple of questions in here already, and I just wanted to quickly say thanks everyone that chatted with us. We have so many different types of companies joining us today, so any questions you have about your setup is totally welcome. We are used to seeing tons of different types of companies talk to us, and we've talked to so many different types of use cases, so we welcome any kinds of questions that you have. And again, you can pop all of those questions in the Q&A button. That's where I'm going to be looking for all those questions and grabbing as many as I can. So we have the first question from Sandra, and she says, I have 2 other managers that work with me. Am I the only one allowed to schedule my employees, or can I set them up to be able to schedule other employees as well?
It's a great question. So When I Work has 4 access levels, which are like the kind of like a role, and it directly correlates with the person's permissions and what they can do in the account. And good news is you are not the only person, if you're the admin, that is allowed to manage the schedule. You can adjust people's profiles to make them a supervisor or a manager, as those two access levels can also manage the schedule and employee level users in the account. So on the employees page, you'll see above each profile, each person's name, it'll show their access level in the account. And those 4 access levels are employee, supervisor, manager, and then the admin. And they kind of go in order of what they can do and permissions. The admin has full control over the account, can manage anybody and everybody in the account. Managers is the second highest access level, and they can manage all schedules, all employees and lower access level users. And they kind of have basically all the same permissions as the admin does. The only difference between a manager and the primary difference between a manager and the admin would be access to the account and billing page to like change the plan or adjust the billing information and whatnot. Supervisors, they can manage the schedule, they can manage employees. By default, they don't have access to view like employee rate information at all. That access can be given to them in their profile. Let me see where's my supervisor here. Here, Emerald is my supervisor in this account. So if I wanted to give him, a supervisor, the ability to view wage information, that would be in the advanced details tab of his profile, and you just click can view wages and save employee. And if you were wanting to make somebody, let's say we're going to make Alice change her access level from employee to something else, that's done on that first profile page of the profile tab when you click on her name on the employees page, and then you just adjust the role and then click save. So great question, but yes, you can divvy out and share responsibilities in the account to other people.
Great. Our next question is about the scheduler, and Anna asks, I have 3 different departments and I'm wondering if I can actually split these up in when I work, or do they all have to be on the same schedule?
Ooh, that's another good question that I could probably go on for 20 minutes, but I'll try to keep it short. So 2 primary ways to do that, or to designate the location of a shift or a department or where the shift takes place. The first one I'm going to outline, I feel like, is used. I don't even know if I would just be guessing at percentages, so I won't even say. But I feel like it's a good 50-50 split, and it really, which route you want to take really comes down to your personal preference. So the first way I'm going to outline is when you use multiple schedules in a single account to designate, again, either a location or a department or a team or a group of employees. On this account, you can see that there's actually 3 different schedules. This is kind of this account was created as like a cafe with all these famous chefs or whatnot that were all incorporated into it. So this account has 3 separate schedules for the front of house, the back of house, and then a master schedule. And so you can use multiple schedules to work different schedules. You just select them here, and we're in the scheduler portion of the web app, and so you can just choose which schedule you want to work on, and the employees that are assigned to that schedule in their profile will show up there to be assigned shifts on that schedule. And then you can assign the same employee to multiple schedules in the account, so they can you can see what they have. So let's actually show you what that looks like quick. I'm going to this is opening a Pandora's box. I'm going to just quickly use the auto scheduling tool, and if there's any questions about this specifically, we can outline those later. So I'm just going to assign these shifts out through the auto scheduling tool, which uses an algorithm to assign shifts out. So I'm just going to do that quick. Looks like we got one that didn't have a spot, and I'm just going to save shifts because I'm not super worried. I'm just trying to show what shifts look like if an employee has been assigned to multiple schedules and they have shifts assigned to them on both schedules. So let's look at Carla here. So Carla is assigned to the front of house and also the back of house schedule. So when you go to the back of house schedule, you actually see her shifts that were assigned to her on the other schedule, and this just helps you avoid assigning conflicting shifts to the same employee if they're already scheduled shifts at a different location. So the second way to do this would be to have one master schedule, and there are people that live and die by just having everybody everybody, regardless of what team or department or location they're working at, all present in the same main schedule in the account. And that just reduces having to switch between them and whatnot. And like I said, it really just comes down to preference, because you're not going to schedule conflicting shifts because they show up on whatever schedules you're in. But some people, again, just like to have one main master schedule. And then they would use the job sites feature and when I work to designate a shift location, a department, or a team that they could quickly filter through. So like, let's say, again, this account is a cafe, and they do have job sites here. So we've got like a food truck job site or a state fair booth job site. And I just want to show you how you can kind of quickly filter a single schedule to show the different, to highlight the different job sites and whatnot. So let's say this server shift on a Thursday is actually taking place. No, that's not tags. Actually taking place at the state fair booth. And then I'm going to open up the view options here. This left menu in the scheduler, it can be collapsed. I've seen a lot of questions come in about, I can't publish my shifts, and it's just because it was collapsed. So you can expand it by clicking that arrow there. And we are going to, I don't need to filter that. These are the position filters, tags filters, and job site filters here. So I'm actually going to change view shift colors. So you can assign a color to a shift or a shift template, to a position, and also to job sites in the account. And then when you're scheduler, you can choose which kind of color scheme you're viewing the shifts by. So you can select position, and in this case, I'm going to select job site. So that quickly shows me everybody who has a shift that is assigned to a job site, because that job site has a specific color assigned to it, which is very, very cool and helps with visibility and to see who's on what team or at what location. So you can either use, to answer your question quickly, you can either use multiple schedules for that purpose, or you can have one main schedule and use the job sites feature. And if you want to manage and create job sites, if you haven't already, this is the workplace menu in the navigation bar. And that has kind of all of those pages listed out for you to manage them, including the job sites. So here you can add a job site, you can edit and change the color of a job site. I like orange, so we'll do whatever that color is named. Honey orange or Canyon more orange? I like Canyon. And then when we go back to the scheduler, why? Oh, wait, I changed the wrong job site color. There we go. So if I made that purple, and then I was viewing shift colors by job site, that would show up bright and purple. So it's easy to know what team, what job site is attached to it, what department, however you're using job sites for.
Great. Thanks, Tori. Our next question is from Josh, and he says, I started my When I Work trial just to figure out if the scheduling tool was right for me, but I wanted to learn a little bit more about attendance and how that works with When I Work.
Ooh, it's a general question. These are dangerous for me, because I feel like I could take one question and talk for 30 minutes on it. So I will again try to keep this short. So When I Work has two main platforms. Every account has the scheduling platform, and the time clock and attendance platform it's included on all the trials, but once you're selecting a paid plan, you can choose to incorporate that. Some people just use When I Work for scheduling and not for tracking time. If you are on an account that will be using the attendance platform, I can definitely highlight kind of how that works and in conjunction with the scheduler. So when there are shifts present in the schedule and they are published, employees can clock in for those shifts through When I Work. And when they clock in for a shift, and so Julia here today started at 8 a.m. So if she went to clock in at 7 a.m., When I Work would automatically associate all the details with that shift with her time entry in her timesheet. So it makes that easy. She wouldn't have to like select the position or the schedule or the job site or any of those options. So if she's clocking in up to an hour before the shift and any time throughout the shift's duration, all she has to do is clock in through an available time clock method, which I will highlight in probably 20 seconds. And her time entry will be recorded with all the details, all the pertinent details. So I'll actually kind of show you what that looks like, even though she's not technically clocking in. What day is it today? All right, so show shifts. So um, actually, I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna quickly highlight the three time clock methods. Marie, don't let me forget to come back to show what a time entry looks like. So these are the attendance settings page. I did that too quick. This is the gear menu and the navigation bar, and this takes an admin or a manager level access user to the kind of the settings pages for integrations, attendance settings, scheduling settings, general settings. A manager would not have access to the account and billing page, only the admin would. So you can enable the option to clock in from the mobile app. You can choose to restrict locations, clock in or clock out locations, and also how far you want your team to be, or what radius they need to be near or within to clock in for their shift location. The same is true for clocking in from their profile when logged in on a computer browser. So those are basically the same sections, just for different time clock methods. And then a time clock can also be set up as a like on a computer browser, on a mobile device, or on a tablet using a time clock terminal. So from a computer, there's no apps or anything that you need to download. You would just log in, manager, supervisor, manager, or admin would log in, and they'd click lock as terminal, and then that browser window would shut down, and basically the whole thing would be a terminal that employees can kind of use to enter their email or employee ID assigned to them to clock in and out. On a mobile device or a tablet, you would download the Time Clock Terminal app from the App Store and then authorize it in a very similar way by logging in, and then they can use that device or tablet to record their times as a time clock terminal. So those are the three main clock in methods when I work offers, and I'm not forgetting to go back to the timesheets. All right, so this is today. So I have in a timesheet, I have selected, or I think I've selected. Where did that hide from me? I said show shifts, and then now that show shifts. Oh no, hide shifts. I'm just missing it. All right, so in a timesheet, you have this option up at the top right to show the scheduled shifts or to hide them. So anything that's in gray, those are not time entries. That's just showing you the details for their scheduled shift if you want to compare or contrast the actual punches with their thing. And this is also nice if they forgot to clock in and they worked the times they were scheduled. You can quickly add a time entry with all of their scheduled shift details with one click. And so that's what I just did. So if Julia had clocked in for this shift through one of the time clock methods available to her, as I said, if she clocked in within that first hour or any time throughout the duration of the shift, it would automatically be assigned to the schedule and the position associated with that shift. This shift had a 30-minute unpaid break entered into it, so that automatically got added. If you allow your employees to record those breaks on their own, that option's really easy from any of the time clock methods that they would use, and they would just kind of start the break and end the break, and the time that they were on break would show up in their time sheet in the details cell here once they finish clocking out. And I think that's, if I missed anything glaring with the attendance, let me know, Marie, but I feel like that's a good kind of 10,000 foot overview of that product.
Perfect. I think that shows how well our scheduler and our attendance tool work together. If you are looking to create that more streamlined employee management platform where you're scheduling your employees and you're actually, seeing their work times and producing that payroll summary, kind of just putting it all together. And as I talk about the payroll summary, we do have a couple of different questions about payroll and if we have any integrations and what it looks like to actually integrate your When I Work tool with a payroll processor.
Hold on one second. I was reading some of the questions that came in. Was that a prompt for me to show something?
Yes. So we have a couple
Okay.
of questions
Integrate.
about
I did.
how.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I caught like 90% of that. I just didn't know if you were just going over something, but no, it's good. All right. So integrations. So when a pay period has been completed, managers that have been given access to close out a pay period by the admin, or the admin can close out the pay period. And this is a pay period that has been closed out, but there was no time entries. But you can see that when you pull up the pay period selection field, you can see which pay periods have been closed and opened. The closed one has the check mark. Once it's been closed, if you have an integration set up with payroll processor. Sorry, this is the gear menu again, and I'm clicking integrations here. You can see I don't have any integrations alive right now, but you can see the ones that we currently have right here, and also integrations that have been built out by third-party programs, websites, applications to When I Work. And then also, if you really want to, you can see the integrations we're considering and actually kind of cast a vote for them by just clicking I'm interested here on this page. So we love hearing our customer feedback about things that they'd like, integrations that they'd like. And so this is just a great, easy way to let us know, I would really love it if When I Work and Slack were somehow integrated with each other. And just clicking I'm interested will kind of let us know. And it's kind of like whichever ones have the most traction are going to obviously get the most attention. So please don't hesitate to let us know which ones you'd be interested in. So if you have an integration active in your account, when you close out a timesheet or when you close out a pay period and click export pay periods, your active integrations would show up here. And so then you would export all of that information just straight over to either straight over to whichever integration you have, Gusto, ADP, QuickBooks, or there are certain ones where you just download and it downloads it in the format that those programs like, so that you can import it into those programs manually as well. So yeah, tons of integration options that can hopefully fit. And if the one that your team or your group uses, please let us know. If you don't see it on that integrations list we're considering, feel free to reach out to us and let us know which integrations you'd be interested in seeing When I Work develop.
Great. All right, we have a question still about the attendance tool, and it's from James. And he asks, can you make manual adjustments to an employee's time before finalizing the pay period?
Absolutely, you can. So the admin and managers can do this for anybody in the account. Supervisors, people at the supervisor access level, they can only manage employees and their timesheets that are assigned to a common schedule as they are. So if you have multiple schedules on your account and there's a supervisor that's only assigned to one of them, they would just be able to manage timesheets for the employees that are assigned to their schedule. But managers and admins can have full access to edit timesheets before. So let's say Julia forgot to clock in, and she figured that out an hour and 15 minutes into her shift here. And so she clocked in an hour late, but she actually started at 8. All that the manager would have to do when reviewing the timesheet would be to click into the cell that needs to be adjusted and to enter the appropriate time, and it will automatically update. And once you've done that with, let's say this week is completed and everything is good after we've gone in and edited it and reviewed it, you can also just mark it as approved, so and any other managers know that it's been reviewed and this time is legitimate. And then once you click approve, you'll see a big check mark right next to Julia. So you can, again, this is another thing, you can tag team if you have a larger account and you want to kind of share the load with managers. Or you can do it yourself. And so it's just a really nice tool. So everybody that logs in to the account that has access, like any supervisors, managers, or the admin, would be able to see that this timesheet has been approved. So that just kind of lets you know that everything's good to go. Approving timesheets is just an optional kind of communication and accountability feature. It wouldn't prevent the entire pay period from being closed out if there was a timesheet that hadn't been approved. It's just kind of an optional added layer of accountability.
Great. All right, we've got one more question that I think we can go over, and then we can go ahead and talk about all the questions that we've had about specific plans. But before we do that, we had just one more question that was kind of a good one to kind of overview for When I Work. And the question was about positions and how you can add them and which ones you can add and kind of what you would use a position for in When I Work. And it's so critical to add positions into When I Work that I thought we should go over it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Right, so the positions page is in the workplace menu up here. I think some people get confused. It's just like a small old school Workfront kind of this minimalist icon, but people think it looks like a little house. So if you see somebody refer to it as a house, we'll accept it, but it's technically called the workplace menu. So clicking on positions there. So when I work, we obviously have developed features and functionality with a specific purpose, but really how you use those different things like job sites, kind of that we've already gone over, where it can be the location of a shift or a team. It really is up to you how you want to tweak them and use them. I've seen people use job sites to refer to like clients, like if they are like a home care group that they send nurses and home care workers out to like houses and they have to bill clients, they'll use the job sites feature or the positions feature to kind of mark which client they're working at, and then they would export that information either from the timesheets or the scheduler to kind of run their own like budget and payment stuff to see how many hours somebody worked at a specific client. So it really is left up to your imagination with how you want to utilize these things. But the positions page, and for positions specifically, this is kind of your main hub of creating and editing positions. You can sort them and move them around here. Something to note, employees or anybody with a profile in the account can be assigned to any position in the account. Shifts in the scheduler can only be assigned to a single position. I actually had somebody chat in today and asking if there can be a shift that has multiple positions assigned to it, and there cannot. It's a one versus one thing. If you have people that work multiple positions in a given day, you are free to create more than one position for them. So I'm actually going to show you how to do that quickly right now. So for this example, I'm just adding another shift here, and then I'm going to adjust the time. So let's say she's only working 5 to 11 at the barista position, and from 11 to 2 as a server. I'm sorry, I said she, but that's Andrew. Sorry about that, Andrew. And so that's how a way that you can kind of have somebody split what they're doing, and you can do that for, again, any amount of incrementation that you want. If you don't want to clutter the schedule, or using multiple shifts just isn't something you're either comfortable with or you feel like would cause more confusion, you can also just have one shift with the appropriate position, and you can use our shift notes section to like get into the weeds, where it's like, oh, in your first hour, make sure that you're doing all the clean before we open, and then you're on the register for 5 hours, and then your last 30 minutes is doing inventory in the back room. So you can kind of outline that, and anybody that's assigned that shift would be able to see those shift notes and kind of know where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do.
Thank you. Awesome. All right, we have about 2 minutes left, and we had 1 or 2 questions about the plans that we offer and how we set that up on our end and upgrading. So we can go ahead and go over that, and then we will give you all our little onboarding packet at the end.
Awesome. So when I work currently, if you're creating a new account or you have created a new account, you will be put on a free trial of all of the features included in our small business plan, and that trial includes the time clock and attendance platform. And so that lasts for 14 days. And then at the end of that trial, if you haven't already selected or transitioned to a paid plan, the account would be disabled. There'd be a big prompt that says, hey, select a plan. And clicking that would bring you, if you're the admin, to the account and billing page to select a paid plan. Our 2 main plans that we have right now, we kind of simplified everything a few months ago, is our small business plan. And this is, we recommend up to 100 employees, but if you have more than 100 employees, we wouldn't kick you out or prevent you from selecting the small business plan if all the features and functionality of that plan work for your business. So that's just kind of a general guideline as people are checking us out and just trying to figure out, hey, am I interested in enterprise, or is small business fine? So if you have any questions about the differences between the enterprise and the small business plan, don't hesitate to reach out, and we can clarify kind of the bigger differences there as well. But yeah, once the trial ends, or once you're selecting a paid plan, you would just navigate to the account and billing plan, or account and billing page in the app, and select upgrade my account, and you'd be brought to a page. You click checkout, and there's different options there where you can like choose to add the time clock and attendance platform to your plan or disable it. You can choose to do an annual billing cycle instead of a monthly billing cycle. Yeah, the world's your oyster at that point when it comes to upgrading and choosing the right plan for your business. And then we went all over all this, so I'm not going to just read all of these to you. But yeah, the attendance platform is an add-on. It does not have to be included on any plans. You can choose to include it. The small business scheduling only plan is going to be $2 per user spot per month. User spots are batched in increments of 5. So if you have 8 employees, you would select the 10 user spot limit for your plan, and vice versa. If you have 42 people, you'd select the 45 user spot plan. If you choose to add the attendance on, it goes from $2 to $4 per month per user spot. So it would just double the price because you're using both platforms that are available. And yeah, oh, here's what I was talking about earlier. So yeah, this is to select, if you're the admin, to select a plan. You would hover over the gear menu in the navigation bar, click account and billing, upgrade my account, and then check out on small business. If that's what you're choosing, you'd contact us if you're interested in enterprise. And then this far right little GIF here shows you kind of all the different selection options, and it'll show you the subtotal and the monthly total moving forward and what you're going to be charged that day, all before you click purchase there. And I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Thanks everyone for joining us and for all your awesome questions. Check the chat tool out for our little onboarding packet that we kind of created. It's just a bunch of links for all of the resources that we have. So the link to start your account, the link to get in contact with us if you have any questions, and then more training tools that we have if you need them as well. So if you need, go ahead and copy and paste that. And definitely reach out to us if you have any questions as you get going. We're here to help and we want you to be successful. So don't hesitate to ask questions when you have them. Thanks, everyone.